Hey, everybody, welcome to yet another episode of the Daily Dealer Live. I'm your host, Sam Dark, and back hosting with me today, the great Yuli DiMartino. Yuli, welcome.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
As always, folks, we're streaming today to all CDG platforms. Post your comments, your questions, be part of the show. Join the greatest conversation in automotive online anywhere. It's happening right now today as we do every Monday, Wednesday, Friday across these social media platforms. What do we have for you today, our loyal DDL audience? Well, remember Tully from the Niello Auto Group. And remember how Tully made a crazy statement. Tully said, as fixed ops director, I love retention. I want to retain every single customer. And in fact, I tell our sales guys they can't sell cars anywhere outside our market area. Well, today we have Dennis Gingrich, variable ops director, and he's going to respond to Tully's very forward-thinking comment, plus some other insights into what craziness is going on in California and some of the current news out there. So we're excited to have Dennis on today. But before we get to Dennis, let's dive into today's automotive headlines. So first up today from Ford. Ford announces it's cut its Bronco Raptor pricing by $10,000. Deep discounts hit Jeep's flagship EV as Stellantis struggles with Ford just slashed the price of its Bronco Raptor by $10,000, bringing it down to $79,995. This after years of steady hikes that pushed the model over $90,000 for the 2025 model year. This mid-year correction suggests Ford may have finally hit the ceiling on what buyers are willing to pay for a high-performance SUV. But while Ford is making strategic price moves, Stellantis dealers are going full damage control. Some Jeep Wagoneer S models, Jeep's first all-electric flagship, are being discounted by nearly $25,000, with real-world prices dipping as low as $43,000. It's a clear sign the market isn't buying into premium EVs the way Stellantis and other OEMs had hoped. And even with those pressures, new car prices overall stayed remarkably flat in May. That, according to Cox, holding at $48,799. But that stability comes at a cost. Most OEMs are scaling back incentives, even as input costs rise. And the real pressure point is volume. The sales pace dropped from 17.3 million to 15.6 million, showing that while automakers are holding the line on pricing, demand is truly starting to stabilize. Next up this morning, in the M&A buy-sell alert, the Higginbotham family has officially sold Mercedes-Benz. Love Benz, especially thinking about our episode Monday, Benzs Bowties. Sold Mercedes-Benz of Jackson and Mercedes-Benz of Collierville to Lithia, with the deal closing on June 2nd. That, according to the Presidio Group, who advised the transaction. Dealer principal Trudy Higginbotham Moody called it a tough decision, but one rooted in timing. Her father, Dennis Higginbotham, first built his dealership group in the 70s, sold to Sonic in 98, then came back just a few years later to start again. Maybe they'll come back. These two Mercedes stores were at the heart of that second act, and now they're part of Lithia's growing Southeast footprint. For Lithia, it's a strategic pickup. The group's already strong in Toyota and GM across Mississippi and Tennessee, and adding Mercedes gives them premium brand presence in two key markets. And at the end of the day, large, well-funded groups like Lithia are still actively looking for high-performing rooftops in markets that fit their long-term map. Lithia is, and by the way, so are we. You got a great OEM in a great market. We want it as well. Finally up today, this is fascinating. California State Senate just approved a bill that would let car dealers charge up to $500 in dock fees. That's a big jump from the current $85 cap that's been in place for years. The legislation, known as Senate Bill 791, passed with broad bipartisan support and would allow dealers to start charging up to 1% of the vehicle price, capped at $500. Supporters include the California New Car Dealers Association, say it's a long overdue update, arguing that the $85 limit hasn't kept up with the rising cost of doing business in the state. But critics see it differently. Consumer advocates say the bill does the opposite of what lawmakers have promised, raising car buying costs for Californians at a time when affordability is already under pressure. The bill now heads to the Assembly, where lawmakers are considering tweaks to the fee cap in hopes of securing Governor Newsom's signature. Fascinating news item when you think you can't buy anything in California for $85. Not a tank of gas, not pinstriping, not window tint. Is pinstriping still a thing? I don't even know if it's a thing. But that's a
the
wrap
roll-on stuff.
on today's news. What do you think, Yuli? Is it a good idea to allow California to raise their $85 cap on dock fee to $500?
I mean, they would just be catching up with the rest of us, I guess. I'm in Jersey, so it's a much higher cap here. Florida's even higher. I did read an article that was interesting. California right now has certain counties that $109,000 a year is considered below poverty line. So raising this cap is it's interesting.
You can see Florida $1,000 cap all the way down to Wyoming at $500. California is definitely on the bottom. Couple comments from social. Tully Williams. It's all about repeat and referral. Yossi, the car dealership guy. Tully Williams responds, hell yeah. And then Lauren Klein out in our audience says Stellantis needs to if they want to move any metal. Well, if Tully's teasing our first guest, let's go there. Let's bring the grudge match of fixed ops versus variable ops back at it. Joining us today on the Daily Dealer Live, Sales and Finance Director at the Niello Auto Group, Dennis Gingrich. Dennis, welcome.
What's going on, brother? Good to see you, Sam. Thank you for having me.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming on. Now, Dennis, I know you. You and I have worked together in the past. Yeah. Yuli knows you. Tully obviously knows you, who was on a couple weeks ago. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do before we have you respond to Tully's comments.
Yeah, well, my name's Dennis Gingrich, and as Sam mentioned, had some great times working together. We obviously keep in touch, which is great. Appreciate the friendship. But, you know, me, I grew up in the car business and started as a professional in 1997, and here I am. Currently, I am the Variable Operations Director or Sales and Finance Director here at the Niello Company. And I am tasked with keeping Tully, the Fixed Operations Director, on track. And I tell you what, it's a full-time job. And I'm lobbying for hazard pay. So that's what I do here.
Hazard pay you deserve. By the way, what's the bourbon behind you? Over your left shoulder. What is it?
That is a Whistle Pig. And that was
okay.
It's been sitting there for a while untapped. And
okay.
I'm on the good foot right now. So
all right. Before I ask you how business is, respond to Tully. Tully said, you and he are sitting in a room. He says variable ops cannot sell a car out of market because he has his retention. He has his retention rate. And I said, who wins in that argument? And I won't tell you what Tully said till after you respond. Dennis.
So I'm going to send him down to HR and have him tested for illicit substance. That's how I feel about that. So yeah, Tully, I certainly appreciate retention. It is a key part of our business because, as Tully says, we are in the repeat and referral business, and we want to service and dominate our markets. Really important for us. But at the same time, we got to sell cars. And, you know, this world is very small. And we do have people here at the Niello Company that buy cars from us clear across country. We work in the luxury segment. We got nice cars. We got special units. And so, you know, if somebody wants to buy them, we're going to sell them to them. But we do need to take care of Tully and his band of merry men and women for sure.
So in variable ops, Dennis, how do you support Tully in his mission of high retention? Because that is really important. I think he and you have really caused us to think differently about operations, how variable ops and fixed ops can and should in today's environment be working together. What do you do to support that?
You know, I think really it's twofold. I think the first part is just communication. When we have meetings that are, you know, variable in nature, I love when Tully comes in and interrupts the meeting because we have somebody to hurl insults at for a little bit. But really what we are talking about, and really everybody in the Niello Company has these mouse pads on them, and it's our core values, right?
Ooh, yeah.
The top one is we are a team. And I think the first thing that we talk about at every meeting is the men and women in sales really rely on the men and women in service to put a high quality product out on the lot. So when we're selling a vehicle, whatever it is, we can say with confidence that you're getting a great quality automobile, and we stand behind it with some different value adds because we need to do a good job in sales, because if they have a great experience in sales and finance, the likelihood of them coming back to see Tully and his friends, it just goes through the roof. And, you know, Tully does a great job on the other end. If we have people that have not yet purchased from the Niello Company, they roll out a red carpet experience. As Tully says, we only want to sell our customers things that we would sell our friends and family members. And we just treat people with honesty, integrity, and it's up to both departments to have a good experience to keep people coming back.
So Dennis, Tully's fingers right now are on fire as he's texting into our social link. Keep them in the store, says Tully Williams. Keep them in the store. All right, let's turn to the market today. It's June 11th, 2025. How are sales? How's biz at Niello Auto Group in Northern California, just outside of Sacramento?
Well, for us, I would say it's great. Things are good. Obviously, April was good. May started great and kind of just petered down towards the end. But broadly speaking, when you look COVID aside, that's, whatever. That was a good time. We'll probably never see that again. But,
La La Land.
Prior to COVID compared to now, things are good. The market's great. People are buying cars. There's a lot of interest. I think as we went through the tail end of May, we just saw lead volume trickle down, but we saw people shopping they're still looking online. It's just they're not quite converting. But overall, I would say we feel good about the duration of 2025. Obviously, there's some uncertainty in the market that is honestly, it's outside everybody's control, except for a few up at the top. But
what's the uncertainty you're talking about, Dennis?
You just look at tariffs, right? You look at what we've got going down here in Southern California with the unrest, and I think with the internet being everywhere now, whether you like it or not, you're seeing these things, and I think it does give people pause, and they maybe just are sitting on the sidelines a little bit. But inevitably, with the average age of cars being what it is, at some point they're going to have to get on the sideline, and it's up to us to make sure our teams are ready to meet them where they want to be.
So you mentioned some of the civil unrest headlines. How is that impacting car sales in California? California is an enormous state, and it's interesting how when it bleeds, it leads in the news. So we're all seeing pictures of riots and things burning and people upset right now. Is that impacting your market, or do you anticipate it impacting it in sales?
I can't correlate that specifically, but we know when there's big things in the news, people respond differently, and it's a distraction. I know, I talk to, just friends and family, and, you take everything around the country as a whole, and you're going like, dude, what is going on? Is now the right time for me to make a big purchase, which, I understand. And, you mentioned at the top of the call relative to that dock fee, there's a lot of conversations about affordability, not only nationwide, but here in California. I mean, I go to the same gas pumps everybody else does here, and you're just like, God, I mean, I can't get out triple digits no matter what. It doesn't happen anymore. There's a lot of affordability issues that are impacting. You throw that in, and I just think people don't have a choice but to really engage with media because it's everywhere, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, so we want to come back to the dock fee because that's definitely something that's on deck there in California. I'm fascinated by how it's been so low as long as it has. But first, let's go to a comment from social media from Lauren Klein. It's a comment that will warm Tully's heart. Sales sells the first car, but service sells everyone after that. Keep them happy, keep them coming back. We got the bell of acceptance. Dennis, what are your thoughts on that?
I couldn't agree with Lauren more. Yesterday, Tully had his monthly recap here at the Niello company with all the fixed operations leaders, which is always a good time. And Tully, they celebrated their best ever month. And I know you know this, Sam. Tully does a lot of, it's super good. We're happy for him and obviously his entire team, but they had their best month ever. I know you know this, Sam, but Tully is kind of does all the data and everything we do here at the Niello
controls
company.
The numbers.
Yes. It is scary, right? It might be propaganda a little bit. Makes me think of Chernobyl a little bit. I know you know.
Yes.
But I know they had a great month. It was in sales. We had our 28th best month ever, and I was sure to remind Tully it's because we've been working our ass off to give you constant fix and service, and nobody in the whole crowd could argue with that.
So wait, you in variable ops and sales, you had your 28th best sales month in a row?
Ever.
What's that stat? Best ever.
Best ever, gross volume, just all the things.
Past month.
Yeah, last month.
All right. So break it down for us. That's big. Tully does control all the numbers. I've seen your dashboard. The fact that the fixed ops guy is saying you guys had a great month. You had your best month ever. Give our audience, Daily Dealer Live here, one or two tips in Northern California. You've got riots, you've got civil unrest, you've got EV stuff, You've got all the politics. A lot of people would say California is one of the toughest places to do business. Give us 1 or 2 tips that have caused you at the Niello Auto Group in May and now in June to win that others could replicate, Dennis.
For us, I mean, this isn't going to sound new. I know on the, Tully's side, he has some processes that he has put in place, using the technicians to do videos, making sure every customer gets a multimedia presentation with what's going on in their car. That has served him very well. It's led to some warranty rate increases for us, and just segmenting all our data very extremely. Yeah.
Dennis, you're answering for Tully. You got to answer for sales.
It's coming. I'm going to
Tully will answer for himself. Tully can defend himself.
So as you know this, in sales, we are not above plagiarizing good ideas. So what we did is we have really leaned into video on the sales side.
Oh, I got you. There's the transition. Okay, go ahead.
Landed. Can I go?
Yeah, you're good.
But we have really leaned into video across the group, because when you look about it, I mean, hell, I got finance guys, and this is a joke, but not really. We're sitting in our office watching TikTok all day, right? Waiting for a car deal.
Yes.
People are consuming video content no matter where they go, what they do. It's how we learn. It's how we find entertainment. And if we can send our customers a high quality custom video about their vehicle of interest, confirm their appointment, we are seeing more engagement, right? A lot of people, and I'm sure you know this, you get a phone number come up on this thing and you don't know who the hell it is. Chances are you ain't answering. Voicemail. I'll call you back later, and in text. So that is something we're leaning into, but also bringing up the phone. Something that we are really hyper focused on is just how we manage the phone. We get a lot of inbound calls still. Car Wars said that continues to trend up. That's been the case for us, minus the lead dip, right? But broadly speaking, more phones. So we're really focused on going over our phone trees, making sure everything works. So when they press 1 for service or 2 for sales, they can get ear to ear with somebody that can answer their question. So that's super huge. If someone's going to call, in my opinion, that is about the highest intent action a consumer can take if they're going to buy something.
And it's interesting. The industry says 1 out of every 4 calls gets misrouted, mishandled. And then there's 4 Eyes and some other technology that would say more than half of leads get mishandled inbound. And I think you and I spoke yesterday. You said, hey, lead count is down. So you had your best month ever on decreased lead count. How do you explain that? First of all, the decrease in lead count, but your increased conversion. How are you making up for some of the decrease in leads overall?
Well, for us, we're focused on lead response time. We want all of our leads to be answered in under 10 minutes. And then if you don't answer a lead here in under 10 minutes, you lost your lead. It goes to somebody else. We police all the reindeer games, the stop the clock to keep
steak knives.
Yeah, correct. Because if somebody wants something, they want it now. I mean, we've all called somewhere and you're ready to go, and you can't get help, and it's frustrating. And so we're hyper focused about that. We use all the different mediums to communicate. I understand not everybody wants to talk on the phone. Not everybody wants to use a text or an email or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, we don't know with 100% certainty what medium of communication that the customer wants to use. So we got to be consistent in using everything at our disposal to give them a quick, high quality response that they can engage with and answer the damn question the customers are asking. But outside of that, I mean, I don't know that there's a secret sauce. It's a sense of urgency, quality, consistency, and our teams find a way to win in the California here.
You mentioned the video and the importance of video to get engagement. We've seen that in our world as well. Is there a tool in particular that you've leaned into, and then how are you training on the video piece?
On the video piece, I mean, we are partnered with Co-Video, and that is
we are too.
Yeah, and they have a good platform. The reporting, the metrics, it's easy to see. And when we see good videos come out, we like to broadcast that from the rooftop. I mean, I can run through the CRM or Co-Video and see, man, thanks for sending me that walk around video. Of course, customer doesn't call it a walk around video, but the video on the car I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Right. And that really helped me make a decision. I'll be down.
So Dennis, in our prior lives, you and I always used to talk about, it's not about knowing, it's about doing, right? If it was about knowing, we'd all be billionaires with rock hard abs because we can all stay up late watching infomercials. It's about execution. So anybody can say, hey, we're going to do a video, we're going to send it out in the world. Executing with salespeople and finance is super tough. Is there something for our audience you could share that has helped you get better adherence to that? Because I don't know what it is, but like for some people, it's just tough to create a video and send it out into the world. It makes them super nervous. Maybe they're perfectionists, kind of like we are. They want it to be perfect before they send it, which that'll never happen. How do you get the execution side of that?
Well, I think an important thing to say is, perfection is the enemy of done, right? And you need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And, to give Tully, God, I hate giving this guy so much damn credit on a sales call.
And again, he's burning up social right now. Yeah, he just says, yes, he's agreeing.
He needs to get down to that lab and get toasted. He's got something going. The juices are flowing. But what we need to do is, Tully does a great job with all the data. It's reporting on these basics consistently and making sure that, at the end of the day, I think we can all agree, and this is true for service, right? Appointments are key, right? We need to have a high appointment count because we know, at least here at the Niello company, if we have an appointment and they show up, we know we're going to win. So you got to go down the line. What are the actions that we do on a daily basis that lead to appointments? And it's videos, it's calls, it's answering the phone when somebody calls us and making sure they have the answer. And it's just making sure that we're giving them a good experience and really bucking the trend on what the public thinks about us as a car dealership. We want to give them a great experience. And plus, we're selling BMWs, Porsche, nice cars. Those people expect a good experience. And if I all of a sudden had a Kia store or a Chevy, doesn't matter. Those people deserve nothing less than the same guy that buys a Porsche. And I think that is what we need to talk about as an industry, because there's all kinds of stuff, and you talk about it. Customers don't like the experience. And when you look at some of like lead responses that show up in these car sales social media thing, you're like, yes, dude, what is this guy doing dealing with the public at all? And we just need to hold them accountable, and we praise in public and we coach in private. And slowly but surely you get better. And it's
so when you talk about that, Dennis, before we go into the doc fee, because I do want to talk California doc fee, we're going to save a little bit of time for that. But when you talk about metrics that create the result, knowing versus doing, Tully shared with us, he said, throw away ELR in service. And he talked about embracing retention. Do you have a similar, when you look at Tully's spreadsheet, do you have a similar metric that is your go-to metric? That's the Dennis Gingrich metric of variable ops at the Niello Auto Group that you have embraced that drives behavior and results?
I'm really into my Chris metrics with Car Wars. That's number one. I just,
what's that?
God, I'm going to do a soapbox for Car Wars. Connect, right? Connection rate means somebody can get ear to ear with somebody that can answer their question. Request an invite. Of every single sales call I get, am I requesting and inviting that customer down to our dealership to do business? And then what's our set rate of those calls? What percentage are we sending? And then pursue. Just because you call them at noon doesn't mean they don't want to talk to you. They might be busy. They could be chasing around a toddler. They could be checking.
They could be on a live stream.
They could be here. There's calls. It's not that I don't want to talk to you. You just caught me at a bad time. So we need to just be consistent in our outreach, because everybody is very busy. And everybody's busy looks different, and it's at different times of the day. So we increase our chances of success if we're consistently outreaching throughout the course of the day. And then just broadly, I really look at, this might be a little bit old school, but outbound efforts per lead. And I just think that the harder you work, the luckier you get. I didn't say it, but you just got to stay consistent. And people want to talk to us. But they want to talk to people that communicate well. They don't want to talk to somebody that won't answer their question. And that's what we really need to coach around. Be out. Yeah.
Well, isn't it crazy that like so many of these things, so many of these metrics, it's common sense. Of course, you've got to invite that person into the dealership, but how often do we just not do that because maybe a new generation is less comfortable on the phone, doesn't know how to have that conversation? I love what you guys are doing, Dennis, training and engaging with emotion. I think you are a great leader. Tully's a great leader because you engage with your teams with emotion. They know you care and they know the things that you're watching are important and they create that result. And you're bucking the trend. So maybe leads down, record month, right? Record month after record month after record month, even in a challenging environment. California, state that, social media would say is ablaze. So props to you and the entire team. Lauren Klein says personalization, make it personal, serve over sell, which you've said that, right? Personalization, make it personal, serve over sell. All right. We want to go to California doc feed. Dennis, first of all, between you and I and Yuli, what the heck is a doc fee and why do we charge a doc fee anyway?
A doc fee,
in the
because
auto
that's
biz.
the way it's been done forever, I'm guessing. It's a fee to cover expenses is really the way I look at it. And to your point, and this is good, I was at the CNCDA dealer day back in, I want to say it was April this year, and they were obviously working on pushing this thing through because, as you guys pointed out at the top of the call and the announcements, we've been at 85. I think it was like 60 or 65 before that. And forever. And then
what does that cover? That doesn't cover anything.
It doesn't even get you a tank of gas here.
It's almost not worth putting on the financial statement. I take that back. It's always worth putting on the financial
it all adds up, right? Singles and doubles. But to your point, we have been so low relative to the rest of the state. And California, I believe, has the highest cost of living anywhere. And you could argue the other side. Well, if that's the case, why are you raising the fee? But the other reason is when you look at it, car dealerships are very expensive to operate. Our largest expense is paying our people, right? And we want to pay people. I worked for this guy late 90s, early 2000s, and he told me this, and it's something I believe in. I still talk about today. You pay peanuts, you get monkeys, right? So we want to be able to pay our performers, the people that make it happen, that give the great experience. And that's just how we operate. We can grow and better serve.
Dennis, are you saying that you have to have a higher doc fee so you can pay people and attract good talent, and that without it, you couldn't attract good talent, that the doc fee is the delta?
Yes, in part. Might be a stretch, but at the end of the day, it's expensive. I mean,
it's a stretch.
Getting a lot of registering cars, checking all the boxes, getting people's cars titled, registered, sending FedExes here, there, and everything that goes in behind, like completing a car deal with all the different state agencies involved. That takes a tremendous amount of time and effort. And I know this won't come to a surprise to anybody's listening. The car business just lags behind everything else in terms of automation. And it's a lot of human capital. And it's like, these people aren't doing it for free and they want to get paid. I mean, hell, I could go work at Chick-fil-A for $20 an hour here in California. Like, that's what I'm competing with.
Go ahead.
No, I got a question in regards to the doc fee, because it's something we see here in New Jersey. So now that the doc fee has been raised in California, I mean, I'm sure you're aware of what
it hasn't been raised yet. Legislation.
Well, when it raises, do you think it's going to have an impact on California sales? Because we have a lot of here. New York's a neighboring state to New Jersey, where I'm at, and you're less than $100 for a doc in New York. So same thing. If you're close to the border, a lot of people would go to New York to buy a car, right? You think you'll see that in California? I mean, it's a huge state.
I don't think so. It is a huge state. And if you go right next door to Nevada, which is where I'm from, it's already there. It's been there for years. It's been $3.99, like since I worked there up until 2008. I think it was $3.99 at the time, so that is what it is. I think, customers, rightfully so, they're going to have a little bit of a heartburn about it, but it is an expensive state to do business in. It's wrought with legal challenges, and there's a lot of expenses that just go along with doing business in California. New York's probably no different than California. I know Washington's got maybe a little bit tougher market up there, and we're just in line with everybody else.
So Dennis, tell us, looking at the different OEMs you have Porsche, you have BMW. What else? What else do you have? I want a
So
Porsche, so that's why I was asking that
we
one.
got Porsche, we got Land Rover,
Land
Jaguar,
Rover.
Acura, Volvo, Audi, BMW Mini, and Volkswagen. And I think I got them all. Acura.
Okay, so as we wrap up today's segment, which OEM today, June of 2025, is helping you deliver the best for your customers, sell more cars, break these records? And then who's the biggest struggle right now? Who's on top, most successful?
Well, I'm going to take the easy part. The toughest one right now is VW for us. I don't think there's a
Okay.
lot of VWs that are brimming with confidence right now. You got the Scout thing going in the background,
Yeah.
and you get ID4s on recall forever. And,
Yep.
so that one's the toughest. And, broadly speaking, I would say all of our other OEM partners, are very, very supportive. Of course, everybody has a lot of love for Porsche. They make a great car. They have a great brand. They got a loyal following. But for me personally, I am just I'm really pleased with BMW. Just what I see, and frankly, I don't get maybe as far in the weeds with our OEM partners as I probably should. But when I look at it, there's just they're consistent. We got cars when we perform, we're rewarded, and
Yeah.
they've done well on the EV front for us. That's been a win out here in California, and from what I understand, the direction they're going is beginning their model variants with various different powertrains, because it seems this EV thing is, gaining traction, losing traction with some of the OEMs, especially with them pausing that CARB thing here in California. And
Yeah.
a lot of some of the OEMs are starting to realize that, not everybody's wild about EV. I don't think they're going
Yeah.
away, but we can't,
Yeah.
customers aren't allowing them to be pushed down their throat.
Dennis, you're in the EV capital, though. There's more adoption in California than any other state, right? Are you seeing that there, even in your market, a pullback a little bit in demand?
Yeah, granted, we do well with EVs, but it's there are our ICE cars. I mean, the hybrids, really, the plug-in hybrid is a very popular car. I really believe, and I don't know nothing about nothing, but I believe a plug-in hybrid. I mean, that is the I don't know.
That's the money.
That's the money. If you get that battery range up to 50 miles on a plug-in, you got some. I mean, that works for damn near everybody, And then if they focus on that, I think affordability will work itself out, and you got a good balance there, in my opinion.
There's a dealer back east that's giving Toyota a hard time for pulling back on full EVs in place of hybrids, and we'd love to have that dealer on the show to just get his perspective, because I'm with you. I think hybrids make a heck of a lot of sense. Now, Dennis, our questions have been taken over by our audience, which we love. John Roper says, rename it to talent fee instead of doc fee. Instant success. Although
I love that.
I love the idea, but I think some customers might get pissed off about that too. But that's okay. We can handle that. We overcome the objection. And then Sean Hopper also says, ask Dennis about F&I training tips. He knows his stuff. Now, I'm offended, Dennis. They didn't include me in that. But give us one solid F&I tip for this June. If you're a finance manager listening and you want to crush it this month, you want to own every single customer, it's one thing you could do to win, according to Dennis Gingrich, Niello Auto Group.
Well, I'll tell you what. So tomorrow morning at 8 Pacific time, I'm hosting just a live F&I training.
Oh, a shameless promo. Okay, go ahead.
This is what we're going to talk about tomorrow, and I've been talking with a few of our guys about this. Is the most important thing right now, specifically if you're in a rut, is slow down. You have 2 ears, you have 1 mouth. You got to use them accordingly. And before you open up that deal and start looking about all the this and the that, what's good, what's bad, just go out there and meet the customer out on the showroom floor and ask some questions and genuinely listen to what they have to say.
Dennis, that's not new.
I know it's not new. It's
not new.
Like you said, if it was just knowing, I'd be a billionaire and I'd have rock hard abs, right?
There you go.
Right. But you really got to slow down and you got to ask some great questions. You'll get good answers. And then you just got to offer these products. They're options. It all says it on our retail. Quit selling. You're sharing information. You give to get. And if you do that throughout your process, you're going to win. People are going to be happy with their experience.
All right. So California, one of the toughest, most illegally, ton of regulation on in California on disclosure, everything else. A lot of people would say, hey, it's impossible to make money in finance in California. One sentence, because we got to go. Give us one sentence in response to that craziness. And then tell us if you want to join your training tomorrow, which I'd love to. I'll be there with you. How do I find out more and how do I join?
I will have to post that on my LinkedIn with the link. I don't, admittedly, I
There
don't
you
have
go.
it ready. So I'll put it on
All
my
right.
LinkedIn. I'll share it with you, Sam. You could share it throughout however, if you'd like. But
Let's
the
do it.
claim that you can't make money in California, one word answer: excuse.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you even got the sound effects. All right, Dennis Gingrich, Sales and Finance Director of Niello Auto Group. Love it. Thanks for joining the show today. And to Toli, who's pounding away on social media out there, thank you as well for engaging and interacting. Always love your perspective. And my friend, it's always fun to catch up with you. Dennis Gingrich.
Likewise, brothers. Have a great week. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh my gosh, that is so much fun.
Yeah.
You put Dennis and Tully in a room and it is fun. And you know what's neat is the best of people in automotive get you re-excited about being part of automotive, right? If you
Yeah.
ever get bored in automotive, you go around people who connect emotionally with their teams and with other people and have a great vision about where they want to take those teams.
That's what it's all
And it
about.
lights you up. Tully,
Yeah.
go fix. Tully gets the last word. That doesn't seem fair. So, all right, we are turning now to our market pulse. With our finger on the pulse of automotive, CDG's editorial lead, our very own roving reporter for today's Daily Dealer Live. Welcome to the show, Anna Del Villar. Anna, welcome to the show.
Hi, Sam. Hi, Yuli.
Hey, Anna.
Glad to be
Hey.
here. Glad to.
Anna, we are so pumped to have you here. You
Yes.
are an expert, subject matter expert with your finger on the pulse of everything automotive. You talk everything you do all day long is talking to dealers, asking really good and interesting questions. You provide the bulk of automotive content that's out there. So our first question for you today, Anna, is what's up in automotive in your world?
Yeah, big news this week is coming out of the buy-sell market or the dealership mergers and acquisitions market. Got some new data that dropped from Hague Partners that showed a really sharp slowdown in Q1, but there are signs of a rebound already emerging. Here are kind of the three key insights that I identified from the report that I think are worth talking about. Insight one is Q1 volume just dropped, but it was more of a pause than a pullback. There were only 68 stores that changed hands in Q1. It's down 57% year over year. And a lot of that slowdown came from holding off on acquisitions, tariff noise, post-election uncertainty, but valuations are staying really strong. The average blue sky value held just 1% below 2023's peak at 20.7 million. Insight number two, profitability is already softening. Kind of been hearing some chatter about that, but for the most part, it's still in line with post-COVID-19 levels. New car profits were up 14% year over year, just over $3,100. Used car profits also rose, not by quite as much, and they are sitting at about $1,640. And F&I income also ticked up just a little bit, averaging about $2,500 per vehicle.
Let's go.
And yeah, and the public retailers pulled in just under $1 million in pre-tax profit per rooftop. Down slightly from last year, but still 2.5 times higher than in early 2021. So dealers still looking pretty good out there. Insight number three, deal flow is expected to remain sluggish through the rest of the year. Many sellers are waiting for clarity on policy or broader economic direction before they list their stores. And even if confidence improves mid-year, most closings won't materialize till the end of 2025, early 2026. But big takeaway, the core ingredients for a more active market are already in place. We got strong buyer demand, we got solid valuations, and we got a growing backlog of would-be sellers. So, bottom line from our perspective, it's a slower start, but don't mistake it for weakness. The setup for a more active market is on its way. We're just waiting for the next wave to hit. And that's all for this week's Market Pulse. Thanks so much, Sam and Yuli. Back to you guys.
And it's awesome to have you on, and it's interesting to hear your perspective and the data, how it plays out in the M&A activity. It's interesting when everyone else is running away. It's the time to buy. We found in our own world, right? When everybody's running in, it's probably valuations are super high. So it kind of supports the idea that now more than ever is the time to get into it. So Anna, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks,
we look forward to getting your perspective in the future,
guys.
And we're going to go straight into our sponsor today. This episode of Daily Dealer Live is brought to you by Nomad Content Studio. Many dealerships are still getting social media completely wrong. They either ignore it, post inventory photos, or hand it off to someone on staff with zero strategy. Meanwhile, the dealership down the street is racking up millions of views and turning those views into real car deals. That's where Nomad Content Studio comes in. They're the team behind the dealers you actually see online. Their system trains a videographer, tells you exactly what to do, how to film, then storyboards, clips the raw footage, and posts content daily across all social media platforms. They're the same team behind names like, and you know what, there's a big long list here, but I'm going to give you Ziegler Auto Group. So if you go to Ziegler's social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Nomad and Omar and the team behind it create everything that we do, where we reclip our podcasts and shorts and salespeople out there. And I'll tell you what, it's interesting. You can quantify the impact instantly, but they're also the same team behind names like George Saliba, Benzs Bowties, EV dealers. If you want your dealership to be next, head to trynomad.co, and book a call. Thanks for sponsoring today's show, Nomad Content Studio. So, all right, Yuli. Wow. What a great show so far.
Yes.
Let's go up to our next guest. I almost have to breathe for a second. Alex Casebeer, GM and dealer. We're going to stay out west in the Pacific time zone today. GM and dealer at Capital Subaru of Salem, Capital Nissan of Salem, representing Cadillac, Chevy, Toyota, Nissan, Subaru. Welcome to the show. Okay, Alex.
Thanks very much, guys.
Alex, welcome.
Yeah.
You know we got to start. How's biz? Give us some context. What kind of units are you seeing in your stores?
January and February were a little slow. March and April were absolutely fantastic. And May was kind of right in the middle. So, we finished okay. Fix is really holding the ship together overall. And sales is, we're just taking every car deal, and gross is hanging in there. Volume is a little light, but generally fine. We're looking forward to a great summer though.
What's the volume like across all rooftops?
Just in terms of total units?
Yeah.
We're a high volume Toyota store for out here. So we'll sell 220 new a month and 150 used. And then
nice.
Yeah.
Alex, how are you getting 220 new Toyotas? I want your secret. We need more Toyotas. I don't think there's a Toyota store out there that couldn't use twice its inventory, Alex.
Yeah. Well, we don't have that many to start the month. We sell through them and sell through the pipeline really well. And it's just a great brand. It's absolutely on fire. Subaru, we're more in the 125, 150 new a month, anywhere from 80 to 100 used. And then Chevy and Cadillac are much smaller volume, but great brands. And then we just got Nissan not even a year ago. So we sold 35 new last month.
Awesome. You and I had spoke a couple days ago about your new mission on used cars. And obviously that's where I'd like to steer this direction of the conversation. But before we get there, I got to ask, because I'm seeing the recurring theme from all of these successful dealers that come on the show, social media. And we talked about it with Doug, the last show. There's still 54% of dealers either do it and don't care, or it's not on their radar at all.
Sure.
So to me, this is very low hanging fruit. How involved are you in social media in your organization?
We do a pretty decent job. We've got a good presence on Facebook and Instagram, and a good YouTube. We've got a couple people around campus that are great at posting content on YouTube. So we do, it's not an everyday focus for us as much as maybe, Facebook engagement and Instagram, but YouTube it does get the most views and followers. So we've got some great salespeople and a gal that works for us around campus that just creates content. We throw it on there and people love it. So, we're not great at it, but we're involved and just always looking to get better.
Well, you learn by doing, right? And I know one of your focal points is to increase your used car volume. I'm sure social media can help you get there, but you had mentioned to me you set up a used car buying center, and specifically, just like other top performers, you're going after private party sales. Why don't you let us know, or let our dealer group know, like, what are your tips? What are your secrets in setting this up?
Right. So we're not a great used car operation. I'm the first to admit it. We're really good at new cars with manufacturers. We're great. We just haven't been that strong in used. So my brother, who's my partner, we're just kind of getting sick and tired of being sick and tired. So we tried something new last year and we have 4 people that just buy cars. They do not go to auctions. They buy on Craigslist. They buy on Facebook Marketplace. We spiff our whole staff. We'll spiff them $600, I think.
Wow.
If they give us a lead that ends in a purchase of a car. So literally, we tell people at meetings,
Strong.
if you just see a for sale sign on a car, take a picture of it, send it to the buying team, and if they buy it, you're getting $600. So
I love that.
Walk us through the economics of that. $600. So if I'm a receptionist and I'm driving down the road and I see this car parked at the side, I turn it over to the buy center. Is there that much value to being able to buy that private purchase vehicle that the $600 for acquisition plus whatever you have to pay to the buy center plus recon, the economics still work in your market, Alex?
Way less than an auction fee, way less than an ARB fee, way less than transport to get the car here from Wyoming, wherever the hell we bought it at an auction.
Yeah.
So it works every time.
That's cool.
And
awesome.
if we need to throw it on a rack and do an inspection before we buy the car, we'll do it if it's a local car. So we're, cautious as we can be, but a local car, as you know, is way better than an auction car, even if it's got some issues. So it's worth it to us every time. If they want to make $6,000 a month just buying cars as a receptionist, go for it. We'll pay it all day long.
Alex, Tully's coming in, Yuli. Tully's coming in with a comment. All caps, a bunch of exclamation marks. Love recon, Alex. So you're creating great recon with those private purchases. Go ahead, Yuli.
100% we are. Who's this Tully person? They need to get in touch with me. Maybe
know what? I'll send you his contact info after. He's a character. You'll love him. So
walk us through. So you said you got 4 people that are doing your purchases on the private party. Are they set up as a separate entity? Is it a separate business? Or are they working under the rooftop? Like, what's the org chart look like for that?
They're here in our Subaru building just because we have the space there. Mm-hmm. And they're buying, anywhere from 100 to 120 a month off the street.
That's great.
We pay them, essentially per car, but they're just employees here. And then we'll shift the cars to whatever store needs them at the current time. So if we're a little low on inventory levels at Chevrolet, we can give them more of those. Or if it's a great CPO piece, we'll make sure it's certified and goes to the correct store. So they don't work for one store, so they're all just kind of in this pool of
a centralized buying center.
Yeah, exactly.
How did you recruit these people? I mean, were they from the car business, or did you just?
Most of them, actually all of them, were in a different department before and expressed interest in doing this. One was a former sales guy who's just getting kind of tired of the hours and was having starting a family and wanted to work more of a 9 to 5. So we said, great, you can do that. Another guy came from the fixed side of things. He was, writing repair orders and now wants to be part of the buying team. So they've all come from within, but they're all young. They're all data driven. They're very smart with the auto and just scouring the internet for cars. So that's the type of person we're trying to get more data focused as opposed to, ooh, it's shiny. I'm sure we can sell this, which you can't always sell the shiny one. So
for sure,
we're looking at data, trying to.
Speaking of data, is there any particular vehicles that you're going after, or are you just looking to buy as many cars as you can?
I mean, as cheap as you can, right? Anything under $15,000, $20,000 is should be gravy, just to lower the total cost of inventory. We're always focused on that. I heard one time, what's the ideal number for, what your inventory average price should be? The answer is always lower.
Yeah.
Less. There is no number. Not 18,000. Sure. It's lower. We're lower than it is now.
So are you able? Are you able to compare the private acquisition versus more traditional models like auction or wherever else? Like, have you quantified the dollar difference between private through the buy center and auction?
Yeah, I mean, we track it of course, where we're sourcing the cars. And we do still have to rely sometimes on the rental companies, but that's just more for volume and for recon, totally, just to get the cars through the shop. So yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't know the exact dollar difference, but the private party ones are bringing more gross because they'll sell quicker, typically less issues because you just don't know what you are going to get at an auction. So, and the rental companies, we just, like I said, just for volume, it's just price them at almost a zero profit out of the gate. Just get a trade, get finance, get recon, move on.
Yeah. So Alex, Sean Hopper asks on social a great question: how's customer sentiment? Oh my goodness, I can't say the word. How has customer sentiment been? Exactly. Thank you. How has customer sentiment been lately at the stores? That's going to be a new test for everybody out there to give me a tongue twister that I can't say. What's sentiment in stores with your consumers as they walk through the door in Oregon? Like you're north of Dennis Gingrich in California. California's got some political challenges, market challenges. What are you seeing?
Generally, people are still, spending money. The housing market's doing pretty good here, which always seems to correlate with the car market. Like I said, our volume is down just a little bit, but gross is fine. There hasn't been much of gross erosion. Finance, we're having a great year in finance. So yeah, generally, I think people are happy to still do business. Oregon doesn't have too many wacko laws and fees and taxes and stuff, little things here and there, but not a lot of deterrents to buy a car. It's pretty straightforward. We don't have sales tax. So, there's just, I know it's nice. Different. Yeah, generally the consumers are happy and, still coming in and we try to make it fun. And that's all we do.
Those are two interesting elements of Oregon, by the way. No sales tax. And then the other fascinating thing is the first time I tried to pump my own gas in Oregon, it was shocking because they would not. So there's this law that for whatever reason doesn't allow you to pump your own gas. You have to have an attendant. And I would go try to put gas in my car coming over from Idaho or Utah, and I wanted to pump my own gas. I don't want to wait for someone. And what do, Alex? They freak out. It's a problem. Right?
Yeah, that actually did get changed. So now
it did.
But there's 2 lanes. If you still don't want to get out of your car, you can stay in there.
And non-self-serve.
Yeah, or you can go pump it. When I went to college as an 18-year-old, I went to school in California. I sat at the gas pump for like 5 minutes waiting for someone to pump my gas. I was like, where is the guy? Why isn't he here?
Frustrating.
I was like,
crazy.
oh, yeah, I got to go pump.
I got to ask about some future planning and your latest acquisition. But before, are you willing to share the secret sauce with us? What's your process? Spinning this department up out of nothing. You're buying 120 cars, private party. What's your sales process for these 4 individuals that you have spearheading this?
Well, accountability is the biggest thing. And in every Monday morning meeting with our managers, we look at the number of trades each store took in, which will then kind of dictate, here's how many cars we're probably going to need this week around campus. So they've got targets that we track. It's just accountability. We've got another guy who wholesales our cars. So he's out in the market more and he's kind of watching over these 4 guys that buy the cars. So it's just talking about it company wide. We're preaching, we need used cars. We need used cars. We don't want to go to the auction. And we talk about it with our 400 employees. So everybody knows we need used cars. And like I said, spiff anybody. So
yeah. Are they getting a lot of referrals in-house?
Yeah, for sure. Wow. Not half or not 20%, but any purchase is better than no purchase. So,
of course. Of course.
We'll take any referral we can get from our employees.
So Julius, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Hey, so as we wrap up the conversation, because we only have a few minutes left, I am super curious about your Nissan acquisition. It's your most recent. So you've got Toyota, you've got Subaru, you've got some of the banner brands. What was the thought process that went into Nissan?
Well, my brother and I wanted to start growing. We're 4th generation in this business. We've been owners and dealers. Thank you. Since 2017. So we're still young in the business in the ownership game. But we want to grow. So we don't have $100 million to go buy stores. So we needed something smaller, needed a smaller brand. A few years ago, we built this new Subaru building, which left an empty Subaru building, which was 18,000 square feet. So we were like, okay, what can fit in that box?
Yeah.
And so we're kind of, and what's not in Salem. Salem's kind of a one brand town. There's not two of anything here. So Nissan came up for sale, and I knew the dealer. And so we've been talking. He wanted way too much money to begin with, which that's fine. It's coming off of COVID years. And then we came to an agreement, and the building went bye-bye in a fire, which we're still unsure what happened on the fire.
Shocking.
So all we got was like 54 cars, no used cars. He sold every used car before we could buy them.
Perfect.
We got no database. We got yeah.
He lost it. It was on tapes. It was the old tapes, and they got burned up.
Allegedly.
Oh,
so
Alex, you truly bought a Nissan fire sale. It was literally a fire sale.
Yes, it was. So we got the cars into our old Subaru building, and off we went. And I mean, it was like we had nobody to call. We had 2 years of sales history from Nissan USA, and that was it. So
wow.
So it was cheap. And
would you share how cheap? What was the dollar amount on it?
No, I'm not going to
fire sale. Okay. Hey, you can't blame me for asking, Alex.
Yeah, I'll stay on the line afterwards. I'll tell you.
Okay.
But I think anytime you can pick up a new car franchise is great, right? You've got all the factory backing, you've got warranty and service. It's just more used car opportunity. We're a great fixed operation, so we know we can make money there. So that was really what was appealing to us. We kind of didn't care what the brand was, as long as it fit the physical parameters of the building and the market, and it happened to be Nissan. And we've never had Nissan, so we're new. We're optimistic. I know they're kind of in a lot of turmoil right now, but the factory has been so helpful to us as a new dealer, and because the old dealer just was not really a great partner for them, so they're really happy with us, and they're giving us a lot of support. So we're pretty thrilled with it, to be honest with you.
Awesome.
I think it's a sound strategy acquiring Nissan and some of the other brands at lower multipliers where they are, and it'll allow you to grow. So Alex, Casebeer, GM dealer at Capital Subaru Salem, Capital Nissan of Salem. We appreciate you being on, sharing your perspectives, and thanks for sharing the details of the fire sale. Can't wait to hear backstage the dollar amount. So I promise we won't share that with anybody, but Alex, thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Alex.
Heck of a lot of fun. I learned a lot today.
Me
The
too.
difference between success and failure is execution. If knowing, I love that quote. So, and of course, Tully does have to have the last word. Look at your service drive. A few comments out there. John Roper, Cole Short, EVs are the hottest cars in Colorado too. All my friends want them.
I couldn't agree more.
John Roper says, man, that's wild. I work with someone who won't pump their own gas. I'll let them know where to move to. That's Oregon, if you want to stand in line. Although I'm telling you, Yuli, it drove me nuts. I would sit in my car waiting for somebody to pump the gas, and you can't get it. Like, in theory, it would be great if somebody were there to quickly do it. But,
you're preaching to the choir, my man.
That's a problem.
We don't pump our own gas in New Jersey either. So you're preaching to the choir. I understand.
Well, hey, everybody, thank you for watching the Daily Dealer Live today, where we break down the biggest moves in the auto business as they happen. Don't forget, we're here live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Next up is this Friday. So if this is your world, hit like, subscribe, turn on those notifications so you never, ever, ever miss a beat. And we will see you next episode. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.